Okay, hello again. Well, this is another tournament VOD review. Because uh, it's honestly a little difficult for me to concentrate tonight, so I will just watch and kind of show minimal things. And when I say minimal, I mean like not the whole game. I will be showing things. So I picked ggreencola. Just because this one has boots and the other one doesn't. So as always, we will watch Cola on 2 times speed. And obviously my gameplay will be at regular speed. If I need to slow it down, then I will. Usually I have the tracker down here below your gameplay, but the way that this is cropped here, it's gonna make it a pain to make it any sort of legible. So I'm just not gonna bother here. Just you're just gonna kind of have to trust me when I say that you have an item. Oh, right, Spotify. Spotify is a good thing to do. Start that from the beginning. All right. Little Moonlight Sonata. And some Link to the Past. So, something that I didn't show on my last VOD reviews, but I am using the Rando prac hack. If you would like a link to this, please tell me. The good thing about this prac hack is that it has fast roam. So if you look in the top left corner of my screen, you'll see a tiny little blue rupee. That means that this is on fast roam, and also there's quick swap enabled. The con of this, unfortunately, is so usually there's a hook shot in this chest, but it is replaced by a green rupee. So it might take me a little longer than normal to give myself stuff that I'm supposed to have, but yeah, it's for demonstration purposes and so that it looks the same on your screen as it does on mine. I'm using this version of the practice hack instead of the normal one. All right, let's go. Okay. So this is AD boots. No sword. Sank is your start. Yeah, just always start with Monk Rocks there. There's no reason not to. Nice boots. So in boots start modes or in sword start modes, this item right here is replacing the one that you start with. So in this case, this would have been your boots. That doesn't logically matter. It's just fun to say, okay, game, you give me boots, lock boots. But yeah, you shouldn't think about it logically at all. Just kind of laugh at all the dumb locations it can be in. Okay, so this dash is actually not worth it at all. So you see here, you've got roughly 1, 2, 3 tiles. So look at the length of this patch of grass here, and then plus this one, and then this one. These are each tiles that are 8 pixels wide. So 1, 2, 3 tiles. When you dash, you need to be moving. So it takes 30 frames to charge a dash. So. Here, it's good. So it takes from there to there. That takes 30 frames. That's half a second. Now, Link, when you're walking like this, when you're walking up or left, moves 2 pixels and then 1 pixel, and then 2 and then 1, and it cycles every single frame. This game runs at 60 frames a second, so 60 frames a second at approximately 1.5 pixels per frame. That's how many pixels you can go in 1 second. So that's about 90 pixels in 1 second. Now, when you have the boots, you're moving at 4 pixels per frame, but you have to charge for half a second. So you have to be charging for an amount of time that makes that 30 frames of charge speed worth it. So you need to make up 45 pixels of movement at 2.5 pixels per frame. So that's about an additional 18 pixels, or just over 2 tiles. Anyway, so the rule of thumb is if you're going fewer than 4 tiles, it's not worth that charge to charge and then walk. You just walk off the screen and it's faster. Now, again, I'm talking in frames, that like subdivisions of a second, but those tiny little subdivisions will add up, and good movement will benefit you in the long run. So yeah, so here you have 1 tile, 2 tiles, 3 tiles, and not even that much because you're going to hit the screen transition right there. So you see how you didn't go the full last tile. So yeah, just getting rid of short dashes like this, except for Muffin's dash, and I'll show you that later, will definitely help your movement and just take those tiny little things off of your time. And honestly, if you're going where I think you're gonna go, which is Lumberjack Ledge, you want to do this diagonal up here anyway, because you want to pretty much diagonal for the rest of the next screen anyway. When Link is moving diagonally, move 2 pixels per frame, one to the one direction that you're holding and one to the other direction that you're holding. So that makes this dash even less worth it because you're going 2 pixels per frame instead of 1.5 pixels per frame. Again, we're talking frames, we're talking 60ths of seconds, but they all add up. Okay, you need to kill something before you pull a tree, and this pickle is probably your best bet here. So you must kill something here to get this tree pull to work. If you kill one thing, 1 through 3 things, that's tier 1. So kill this, pull the tree. Just take this sign, kill this pickle, pull a tree. This isn't only because I have an irrational hate for pickles. It's just the most convenient at the time. You can also just come up here, but you don't have a weapon at this time, but you can also just come up here, kill that bird. If you hate birds more than you hate pickles. Um, so yeah, that's just preference. It's just whatever you want to kill, but you do have to kill something. 1 through 3 enemies will be a tier 1 pool. If you kill 4 or more enemies and you do not take damage, that is a tier 3 pool. And if you kill 4 enemies and you take damage, that's a tier 2 pool. In standard starts, like in casual boots, like you will be playing in the first 2 weeks of Mentor Tournament, whenever you pull this tree, you will have already killed things. But when you're doing open, you need to make sure you get that kill, and you need to make sure that this little death cloud here, this thing, you need to make sure that that's on your screen when you kill the thing. Another easy target here is to just come down here and check your crab drop, and then if you don't like the crab drop, you can either try to hit him with his own bush, or just follow him around for a little bit till he disappears. But again, make sure that death cloud is on the screen, or else it doesn't count. Okay. So normally I'm okay with scouting lumberjack ledge, and in this scenario you have a boot start, so it's not really gonna cost you much. What it does cost you though is bush pickups, so I would probably put this off for a little bit at least. If you're in a sword assured mode, then yeah, like come up here, do AGA 1, or sorry, come up here, just check to make sure you don't want to do AGA 1. However, this is AD, so once you have the ability to do AGA 1, you probably should. So I'm not necessarily even interested in this right now. If it's something, you'll get the logical things that you need to break it out. Now, if I get to the Dark World and I don't have Aghanim access, then I might look at coming and spying on this to see if I need to rush Castle Tower, or if I can put it off until right before Ganon to get a free health refill. So I don't really necessarily care about this right now, but just keep it in mind for later. And we'll try to find a better place to figure that out. I'm not going to nitpick bonks. Everybody bonks. Okay. So the dash line's here. So you don't have a sword. Dashing without a sword is not great. So all of the presets here are gonna have a sword, but basically this is your lineup here. So either aggro this bird and kill it with this thing, or just aggro the bird and run around for a little bit until it leaves you alone, and then your dash line is here, up here, through here, if you need it. And then your dash lines here are, if you have a sword, you can do that. If you don't have a sword, you're just going to have to dash through here and then adjust up to here and do that. I don't know what your experience is with the game. So, but it definitely looks like, doesn't look like you necessarily have a plan. It looks like you're improvising a lot. So, okay, yeah, like here. Okay, good choice. Cackwell is less punishing to do without bombs. Like, it's, if you don't get bombs in here, then you You just have to drop into it later. You don't have to go through 2 extra rooms. I would have gone straight to Blind's Hut there, because then you can just drop off the ledge. But sequencing at this point doesn't matter that much. Okay. So by and large, you'll see a lot of people throwing their bombs, which in most situations is not a bad thing because you have to wait out the bomb fuse anyway. And instead of just walking all the way up to where you need to put the bomb, then usually picking it up and throwing it is the solution. However, for this room in particular, all you have to do is hold right out of the staircase, place the bomb, and do your block puzzle. No need to overcomplicate this. Oh, your tracker isn't working. That's unfortunate. Okay, I think that's... Are we fixing that now? Okay, we fixed it. Good. Okay, so the reason I would have gone to Blind's Hut before the Merchant is because that gives you a lot better sequence than this to pick up items. Because here, you're coming out of Blind's Hut, you don't know where to go. Whereas if you hadn't done the Merchant yet, it's a no-brainer. You just go down here, then you go down to Chicken Hut, then you go over to the tavern. But now you have no idea what's faster, so you just kind of go. Yeah, and it's important to check your tracker before you go anywhere like Sick Kid. It's really important to check your tracker and make sure you don't have stuff, or make sure you have a bottle and you're not just walking in there for no reason. Okay. Um, so this is AD, but map checks are still kind of important, so you know what can be in Ganon's tower and if Ganon's tower is dead or not. Um, I wouldn't say you have to do it right now, but especially like once you get Dark World access, you 100% want to know uh, which are your crystals and which are your pendants. Okay, so running back from here is slow. In Rando, you are allowed to save and quit, and a save and quit takes about 12 seconds. Now let's check how many screens. Picking up the item there and blind checking it is not an issue. So that's 1 screen, 2 screen, 3 screen, 4 screens, 5 screens, 6 screens. So you just went 6 screens. Okay. Each screen transition, each time you get to the edge of the screen and then it scrolls to give you a new screen, that takes 2.5 seconds. So times 6, that's 9 seconds that you just spent only in screen transitions. Or no, sorry, 2.5 seconds. That's 6 times 2.5. That's what, 15. That's 15 seconds that you just spent dashing through those 6 screens. Whereas if you had saved and quit, then you would have been, if you want to be at Link's house, then you would have been put into Link's house and taken 1 screen transition. That's 14.5 seconds. So just knowing little things like that is going to save you a good bit of time. Okay. I don't mind Dam here. Honestly, I probably just go to Mini Moldorm Cave. If not, like try to do Saha first because you're on 463 here, and you definitely don't want to get caught without rupees. I would have picked that up. Okay, yeah. So you have a book here that you picked up. Oh, that's dangerous. So you have a book here. So I don't blame you for not wanting to go to Agina, because that's going to draw you into desert, and you don't want to touch desert at this point. Yeah, so you're kind of finding out here why dashing without a sword is bad. Okay, are we keeping the line or are we adjusting? All right, we're adjusting. Okay, very good. So getting back to Ice Rod Cave is slow, but you have a nice little batch of items that you can get here, and you don't even necessarily have to be married to Dark Cross at the moment because it's out of logic. And a lot of people will try to put off Front of Escape to try and pair it with an Aga 1 clear, but realistically, I don't think that that's really feasible most of the time. Okay. Yeah, you're doing more short dashes here, but hopefully you will reevaluate those. Just just remember that it's a grid of 8 by 8 tiles, and you have to be dashing 4 or more tiles for it to be worth it. And even then, it's going to depend on room layout. Okay. All right. Yep. Cool with that. I would be going Saha here. Same reason as before is that even if Agina has something, you're going to get sucked into desert, and you don't want to be sucked into desert right now. If this was AD keys, then I would be a lot more willing to make this play. But yeah, you really just do not want to be sucked into desert right now. Okay. Well, you got a bow. That's pretty lucky. Yeah, that's honestly reason enough to just say, forget desert. We'll come back later. Because right now you have to, like, there are 2 items in desert, and you need them to be exactly the glove and a fire source to make this trip worth it. And that's a very low percentage play. So I would just say forget desert at this point and just go to Eastern. I would have done Saha Eastern before doing this period, and it would have felt bad. Yeah, you can't hammer dash through pots if you don't have a sword. It's just a little programming quirk. Okay. Are you about to Luxac this lamp? Okay, even if you do find Lamp or a Fire Rod here, okay, Mitts, damn. Okay, um, so that's rare. That's a very rare case that you'll find both gloves in desert, but also it's where. Oh, okay. We want to do King's Tomb first. Uh, okay. I don't hate it. Yeah, but yeah. Oh, well, hate this layout, but happens sometimes. Okay. Yeah. Go to Saha. Do your thing. Armos Knights is in Logic now, so assuming that you're using advanced placement, which you should be if you're not. What is the reason for skipping Saha here? Okay, dashing up these stairs is slow. So when you dash upstairs, you're moving at less than 1 pixel per frame, versus if you so we'll just test something here. Gotta give myself boots. So 557 doing that way versus 552 doing it that way. So what I'm doing here is I'm double pumping going up these stairs. It's even better. Basically, when you're walking upstairs, you should always be spamming left and right, and then when you're on the last tile of the stairs, that's when you can start your dash. So there, I'm saving like 20 frames over just doing this very slow stair climb, and you did about 4 of those very slow stair climbs. So again, it's tiny little things like this that are going to save you chunks of time. Oh, this is green pendant? Okay. This is fine then, but then you should have just gone straight to the right and picked up the rock. So let's go over here. Instead of going up the ladder first and then jumping down a bunch of ledges, there's a rock right here, and you had a glove, so you can just go all the way up this side. Especially since you have boots, that's a lot faster. Okay. So in this room, I'm just gonna like chill out on this screen for a while just to make a point. These skeletons don't spawn unless you get within their box, which is like roughly like this-ish part of the room right here. So the NMG way to do this room is to take this pot, go stand here, and then throw it to the right, and then throw this one down. This is the NMG way to do it. And then get out of the room. Reason being, the skeleton gets the trigger to spawn right there, but it's on a timer, so it doesn't spawn right away. So but I know where this guy's gonna spawn, so I can just kill him. And then kill his compatriot, and then everybody's dead, because the other 2 skeletons spawned in spots that they're not allowed to spawn in. However, in rando, and you have a bow here, there is... You just come up here, stand on the top half of this like diamond tile here, and just go left, down, right, beeline for the door. Easy game. You can see that's about 2 seconds faster than the other strat. So a lot of situational awareness will also save you time, like knowing that you have a bow in here and then executing the strat will give you just a free 2 seconds. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna call this unnecessarily risky. Because I'm not sure. Did you get? Yeah, there's still an item left in Eastern, and it's early enough that I don't think you need to gamble skipping the back. The big key chest, that is. Yep. Okay. So I was just about to show that, but it looks like you know it. Yeah, Igor's die with a hammer hit, but also they die with an arrow shot, and an arrow shot is a lot more forgiving hitbox wise. So I would just use the bow. Just light the torch and then use the bow. I'm not gonna nitpick swordless strats here. Oh, well, it looked like you had a plan until it didn't. But you survived. That's the main thing. Um, so what it looked like you were trying to do is something like this. Which is the optimal way to do it. Um, basically, what I do is I just line up on this guy and then get in the middle of this tile, 5 to the right, and then let me get onto the right line here. 3, 4, 5, and then start shooting down. Basically, what I'm looking for here, I'm actually a little too far to the left of where I want to be, but the right side of Link's shadow should be on that line in the floor there. That's basically where I like to set up for the quick kill. And that just takes practice. That just takes sitting with the boss and the Prakak and just doing it over and over. All right. Okay. So I'm glad this happened actually. So if you are directly up against this wall and then you try to open it, it's not going to work. And I'm not 100% sure why. You just have to make sure you're 1 pixel down. Maybe. Okay. Just make sure you're against these spots, actually, and then it'll bonk open. Alright, so there's your Dark World access. I would save and quit here. Yeah, so the way that you did that, you were always going to save and quit out of Saha's hut. So basically, that should have just been your plan from the beginning. Like once you entered this wall, you should have had your select button ready. So right here is where you should have saved and quit. So 2320 versus, and then you finally make the decision to save and quit here. 2338. So that's 18 seconds. So just having your head in the game like that and like having that plan ready, because there is nowhere that you can go here that is feasible to run to. You're always saving and quitting out of here. Having your head in the game and making sure that you know what you're doing next is so important. All right. Basically dealer's choice from this point. Skull isn't really calling out to me because no sword, but Thieves Town is because you have a hammer. And we go to Thieves Town. Fantastic. Yeah, there's... Okay, you're just doing this in sort of an odd... Yeah, okay. So, you dashed in every single part of that except for the time that you needed to. Alright. Fence dash. Damn. Don't worry about fence dash, it's not worth it. But for Sea House... So we're going back to tiles. So this takes you 30 seconds to charge this dash, and then you're dashing for less than 30 seconds. Or 30 frames. So this, not worth it. What is worth it is to just come out here and up left into this wall, and then transition to up here. You can dash up here. This is barely worth it to dash up to here and then do that. So you could just walk this whole thing. This dash is by no means required. And then when we like to have a little fun, we do what's called Muffin's Dash, which is to just dash out of that door. 100% not worth it, but, you know, just a nice little shout out to the rando community if you're on, like, a restream or something. But yeah, so optimally, optimally, this house takes a good bit of pumping, and only 2 dashes. So, like, charging those 6 dashes in there is 100% not worth it. Yeah, I like checking the houses here first. You're just kind of doing it in an odd order. I would have done chess game first, and then the bombable hut, and then sea house, and then gone into Thieves Town. And I like doing it. I like doing all of those before Thieves Town for the simple fact that you know, you're on 5 hearts green mail here. Thieves Town's not going to be easy, but it is doable. You have Samaria. If you know the blind script with hammer, then okay. All right, we're just gonna keep going. All right, vindicated. There's a small key in the front, so now you can get the big chest. Yep. Always know where your safeties are. Remember that you have powder. In fact, I might have actually checked Magic Bat before coming to the Dark World here, but that's also kind of slow, so I don't blame you if you just want to wait on that a little bit. You didn't really get powder in a very convenient place, so like I'm good with putting it off, and there you get rewarded with a mirror. So now you can just do it with Smith Chain when you're done with this dungeon, assuming you don't get a sword. If you get a sword, you should probably just go do Skullwoods. So your other option, rather than coming straight here, was to go to Hype Cave and try to find a sword, and then you could do both things. Okay, so here, I'm not gonna nitpick every single room that you do. Just when you do a new thing, I just want to point it out. So here, we're gonna put this to normal speed. So here, nothing wrong with this. Just get these guys out of your way. But what I wanted to point out is right here. You run into this guy, and you know, whatever. He's in your way. He's not getting out of your way anytime soon. you just got to take the damage there and move on. But what you do here is you get a little retaliatory, which ends up getting you an extra heart of damage, and then you even double down on it and go back. So I'm guilty of this too. If something damages me, I want to damage it back, but uh, but don't get too caught up in that mindset because right here you should just dash out of the store at 29 minutes. You should just dash right out of that door and forget those guys ever exist because if you kill them here, then you're going to take time. But if you transition the room, you kill both of them at the same time because they despawn. Okay. We're just going to see how long you spend killing these guys. It's not that bad. It's only about 7 seconds, but it's 7 seconds that you could shave off of your time elsewhere. Yep. Swordless, I would that's a good safety strat to do. If you have a sword, just dash through there, but since you're swordless, just kill that guy. It's not worth it. Okay. Well, you got 3 hearts. Yeah, that heart's only there once. Okay. Yeah, this just comes down to comfort. Okay. Now what do you do? Okay. I wouldn't have blamed you for trying it again, but yeah. Sometimes you just gotta know your limits and come back with better equipment. Um, okay. Uh, so I don't mind grabbing the smith here per se, but if you're gonna grab the smith, you need to do dig game first. So you actually can't do dig game if you have a follower that's following you. Uh, he like even if you have the purple chest and you leave it behind, he won't let you play the dig game if the purple chest is following you. So you'll see a lot of people just jump down and do dig game first, and then grab the smith and do hammer pegs and other such things. And then that comes with the added benefit of okay, yeah, you should definitely do hammer pegs there, but you'll probably just do them right now. I don't think this sequence matters all that much because you're gonna do it all anyway. It's just from a checks per minute standpoint, it's more checks per minute to where are we going? Oh, flute. Okay, cool. I guess if you do it in the way that you're doing it and you get a sword, then you get to hammer dash through all of these pegs. So, yeah. Yeah. You ran into this before. You can't hammer dash through anything unless you have a sword. I'm not 100% sure why, but it's just that way. Yeah, so now you have to skip dig game forever, which I think you're about to find out here in a second. Yeah, so always knock that out before doing Smith Chain, but I do like doing Smith Chain here because you just got the mirror. Um, just a minor little optimization. Oh, you already have a shovel, never mind. Hey, there's a sword. There we go, game's playable. Okay. You can actually mirror on top of that grove of bushes. You don't have to run in there. Okay. So just real quick here. Um, so if you have the purple chest, as long as you stay in the Dark World, you can just leave this chest behind. So taking it down to Cave 45 was smart because you want to keep the chest. But once you're back in the Dark World and you don't need to be in the Light World anymore, you can just leave the chest anywhere and then you can just dash down to the guy. And then as long as you like mirror on the screen and you get to him in short order here, he's gonna give you the item in here. Alright. So that's just a couple screens you could have dashed instead of walking here. Okay, Botmos tablet. Okay. Well, those are your silvers that you're never getting. Okay, yeah, you have the option of doing Hookless Swamp. It's not a very popular play, especially at this point when you have like look at all these green boxes that you have open right now. So it's certainly not a popular play, but you can definitely beat people by doing that hookless swamp tip, but you could also very easily beat yourself with it. Okay. I don't mind the Mire play unless you're looking to clear it, because you have two medallions and Samaria here, and you really do not want to have to come back here later. So yes, you're getting a desert clear, but there's nothing in desert. You know there's nothing in desert. So the only reason for you to go to Mire area is to get A info and B to clear Mire if you can get in. I wouldn't necessarily be looking to do that on 5 hearts. Okay. Good knowledge. I respect the attempt. Very nice. Okay. It was a little slow to get going, but you got some good shots in. Yeah, it's always good to know what can hurt the boss, and you can use some alternate strats. So like I said, if I'm coming here and I see that I can get in Mire, that's to me that's terrible. That's very bad because you're in here on 5 hearts and a fighter sword now. You really don't want to be in here. So, but yeah, that's the correct choice to go in while you're here so you don't have to come back. Very nice. Honestly, I know this is available, but I'm on the mountain here. For the simple fact that I just don't want to go in Mire with 5 hearts because I'm gonna die. Even even if what I'm not sure. Did you get lost? Okay. Well, I'm not sure what happened there, but yeah, that's not necessarily ideal. Death warps in this dungeon are never good, even if it's to like recover health. Okay, it looks like you're just lost, which is fine. Yeah, just familiarity with the dungeon is gonna help you here, and yeah, uh, giving me a heart attack here. Yeah, you're out of magic, so you gotta come get this first. Heckin' Slugula. Okay, yep, that's that. This is the correct path. Okay. So little tiny thing about Meyer key logic here. If if the big key is in that compass chest that you just got, that means that there can be a small key downstairs. If conversely, if there's a small key in that compass chest, that means that the big key uh must be behind the cutscene chest. You have not found any small keys to Meyer yet, and right now you're behind two of them. So because this chest can be a small key, that makes it less likely that you actually need it, and it makes it even less likely that it's required to finish the seed. So I would be looking to skip cutscene chest here. I would go clear all of the rest of the chests and try to find items, and maybe even just go to the boss and find and see if you actually need to come back here, and then come back later if you need it. Honestly, because this just takes so long. This cutscene takes 17 seconds, and fast ROM doesn't help it at all. Yeah. So so your options here were to be in that chest were map, compass, small key, or item, which again the it's only 25% to be an item. Um, Also, you're leaving chests behind by doing this way. Should have just walked out the other way, but since you're already here, so there are bunny beams underneath this pot and underneath this pot. You found the one here, but what you can do here is even though you're out of magic, um, let's just do this. Uh, so what you can do here, even though you're out of magic, is if you press the cane. Whoops. If you press the cane and then menu to the powder via the start menu, you can do a fake powder. So you have to be a little quick on the start, but just do that and you should sprinkle some powder even though you're out of magic. That's harder to hit an anti-fairy like that with, but it's easy to hit this bunny beam because this will not move as long as you don't touch this pot. Oh baby, we're going to Fishbone. Okay, yeah, this pot and this pot have hearts. Yeah, and this is kind of why I don't want to be in here on five hearts, is because there is recovery everywhere, but like you're pretty much running away from everything, and as a result, you're just bleeding time. Yeah, you hit the switch in Fishbone Room, so okay. It just looks like you're not really familiar with Meyer overall. Uh, entrance. Yes. Okay. Here's how you do Mire. You have a pretty good grasp on Mire 2. You even have a neat little cane setup that eventually you'll... if you learn Spooky, you're gonna need to get away from, but for now it's fine. Okay. So in non-key sanity modes, the first room that you do is always this one, bridge chest. This doesn't ever get any faster to do unless somehow you do every single other chest and you have hookshot. But this chest could have your big key, so that's why you do it first. Second chest you do is always this one. Get your key. Get on the spikes. And then you go out this way. Then you should have at least one small key here. So you go over here. Kill this guy for his key. And then you light these torches. Okay, now here you have a choice. You can either go chase cutscene chests, which you already know the way to do that, or if you want to try and skip cutscene chests because you already have a big key, you can just go here, go right, and then get your lobby chest. Okay, and then after the lobby chest, if you have the big key, then you can go this way and do the big chest. If you do not have the big key at this point, you need to go through this, and you can just go this way to this chest. Okay, so that's the way that you clear Mire. I would definitely study some dungeon maps. It seems like you have them, because it seemed like you paused for a little bit and brought some up. But if you don't, please DM me and I will send you a link. Yeah, so these flaps keep getting in your way, and the reason for that is that you're just not familiar with how this stuff works, and that's fine. That's why you're here. Okay. Okay, good. I respect the attempt of going for the boss here. Okay, it looks like you at least know this dark room a little bit. Nice. Okay, yeah, you seem familiar with this dark room. Yeah, and this in particular is kind of why I'm not super excited about the Mire play right away. Because no matter what mail you're on, everything down here does 1 heart. Yeah. So I would just leave at this point, yeah. Because you still have stuff that you need to do in there yet. Just come back later. Everybody's got that one dungeon that they never want to do, and it seems like yours is going to be Mire. Oh, looks like you didn't go down far enough. Okay, yeah, so... Come on. So if you I'm gonna have my lamp on here, just so I can show you. So, so you got through this part okay, and you started holding down left, but you got to this little lip here, and then this is where you fell into the hole. So what I do is I wait until I see this little lip, because when you're pressing down left, you'll suddenly stop moving down left and start moving like cardinal left, even though you're still holding down left. So there's just this tiny little lip or elbow bend or whatever you want to call it. So I wait for that, and then like you only need to go one tile. Like you can see, if I go one tile down, I'm good. But I usually overshoot it in the dark and just make sure that I'm all the way against the left. So wait for the lip, overshoot it, and then wait until you stop moving against this wall, and then press up left, and then find the door. And a good way to find the door is to mash L and R, because if you're quick swapping and you go through a door, then you stop quick swapping, and then you start again when you're on the other side. Okay. Looks like you're pretty unfamiliar with spin speed. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, because honestly, the best time to practice is to just do it. Like there are some things that I will say, like it's not really worth doing in races unless you're super comfortable with it. Spin speed is one of those like very innocuous things that, if you fail it, whatever, it's a second. You're not gonna you're gonna learn more from failing it and losing that second versus. Speaking of learning, yeah, you need the big key to get beyond this point, and I don't believe that you have it. Yeah. So if you get a small key here, you got to go to the basement. This is why a lot of people wait on Hera until they get the hook shot. But even if you had the hook shot here, I would still say to come down here and get the big key before Hera potting. Just because you've already left stuff behind in Mire, you've already left stuff behind in Eastern. You don't want to leave more stuff behind. Okay, that's a good alternative strat, to just use the hammer there. You can probably tell, since there's already a preset for this, that this is a problem for a lot of people. But I'm just going to show, just in case you don't have a hammer one time, you want to focus on knocking these guys down and then using the pots to kill, versus like doing something like this. This is just slow. So focus on knocking them into the hole, and then use the two pots. Now, if you want to quick swap to hammer and do what you just did, that's perfectly fine as well. But I'm just showing you in case you don't have a hammer next time. So hammer dashing through pots is making things unnecessarily complicated, and it's also just straight up slower. So just pick up the pots. You don't have to get fancy with it. Good call hitting the switch. Hold on a second. So right here, there's a heart underneath this pot. Right here. I think you're on blue mail, so you may or may not want it. but it's there if you ever want it. Yeah, and hammering pots is just slower than picking them up in most situations. There are a few very specific situations in which you want to also for this bomb jump here, so yeah, it looks like you're not really familiar with the regular way to do this also. So we'll show you that first, and then we'll show you some bomb jump stuff. So the normal way to do this, and the developer intended way to do this, is to hit this star, go to the top part of this hole, and fall down. And that's vanilla. In vanilla, that's your move pro. But so for this bomb jump, though, so I saw you were trying to get against this pit, and you just overshot it, which happens. And you know, always try something. Always try the trick once. If you fail it, whatever, just do it the regular way. Eventually, you will get consistent enough with the trick that, you know, you won't have to bail out and do it the regular way. But yeah, so the reason that you have your sword out here is not only to slow Link's movement, but you also want to charge a spin to save yourself from falling in the hole. So I usually target the tip of this alligator tooth. I want to put Link's shadow on the tip of that alligator tooth, and then release the spin and hold away from the pit. And now you see when I shoot for that, Link will start kicking his feet, but then when the sword spin happens, it'll just put me on the last pixel of the pit. Okay. So get to the tip of that little alligator tooth there, and then hold away from the pit and spin. And honestly, I would just load up the big chest room in Skull Woods for practice purposes. Just kill everything here. Make a save state. And then practice your pit lineups here. Because if you miss here, then it doesn't really matter. You just go to the beginning of the room. But if you miss in Hera, then you fall down 2 stories. And if you're on emulator and you don't have the luxury of save states, then or you were like stuck with emulator save states, then you know this is just a much better room to practice this bomb jump in, and you don't really ever get punished for not doing it correctly. And it's literally the same pit. It's the exact same dimensions as the pit in Hera. So just shoot for the alligator tooth, place your bomb, profit. And again, there's nothing wrong with practicing tricks during races. It's how you learn consistency outside of just like dedicated practice. And eventually you will stop failing those tricks. Nice dash strats. So, strictly speaking, dash strats are, with Master Sword are not optimal, but you know about them, which is the most important thing. So, just one quick thing about Moldworm. So, Moldworm's movements are 87% RNG. Why do I say 87%? Well, If you watch, there he just attacked me. Here he just attacked me. Here he just attacked me. So it's every 6th movement or so that he actually hones in on Link's position and goes directly toward Link. So why am I saying that? Well, you can actually use this to your advantage. So we'll see when he attacks me next. There. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he should attack me again right there. 2, 3. Okay. So when he does do that straight beeline at you, he leaves his tail open, and it's very easy to just dodge his head and then go for his tail. Now, if you have Master Sword, you're gonna want to spin like that. But if you just wait until he does a straight pattern like that, then you'll make it a lot easier on yourself. And like you already know, if you dash through Moldorm's head, you become invincible for a little bit. Those sword tanks do something with Moldorm's hitbox and Link's hitbox that makes them not overlap. So that's a good backup strategy to go to. The other backup strategy that I would say is, and it looks like you're doing this, but I didn't really see much of it in action, is because if you're sword out here and you hold away from this pit, you'll never get knocked down, and in most cases he'll actually go through you. He'll actually like attack you, bounce you enough times against the pit that you'll actually get a hit on the tail. So spend a little bit of time in either this room or Moldorm 2 to get used to how Moldorm moves and when he's going to attack Link, and when it's safe to just walk past his head and get your hit in. Yeah, because each one of these falls is 10 plus seconds. Actually, I should have reread the posts, but because you may have do. Okay. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him. Yay, okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't blame you with the frustration slashes. So we're just gonna rewind a little bit. We're gonna see how long this took. When do you go into Moldorm the first time? Yeah. You're spending over 2 minutes on Moldorm here, and that is not spending 3 minutes on Moldorm. Yeah, this is definitely a practice seed. Or this is definitely a practice point here. A lot of people talk about Troll Dorm, and it's kind of a meme in the rando slash Z3 community that Moldorm will just troll you, and there's not really much you can do about his movements. But that's not 100% true, because I can just run around this arena forever and he will never hit me because I know which way he's going to move in a limited fashion. So sitting in the room for 10-20 minutes and just, walking around dodging Moldorm, making sure you don't fall, that is going to be paramount, because here you're at 5840 and you're fighting Moldorm, and you don't you don't kill him until 102.40. Yeah, I would have done this before entering Hera, just because you could have, even if you just. Oh, okay, wait, you did do this before Hera. Okay. It was so long ago. So many Moldorm Falls ago. Okay. If you like shields, you like shields. Go get it. Why not? So it's actually marginally faster. Uh, if you have the mirror, I need to give myself the hammer here. If you have the mirror after Spiral Cave, it's actually marginally faster to just kind of brave these red Tektites and this dead rock. Go in this second cave right here and just block delete this thing. Because dodging those Tektites and that dead rock is faster than this fall animation that you're about to do. This is the correct way to do this, by the way. You're gonna see people after Spiral Cave. I would say you'll probably see some top runners do something like this. Just go down here, pick up this rock. And then they'll run up here. And then they'll warp between these two caves. Go in here. Do this thing, fall back down. And then come here and do Super Bunny Cave. That's not faster. And the reason that it's not faster is because you're adding this screen transition, this room, these blocks, this room transition, and this falling animation. All to get around Tektites. It's not worth it. Yeah. Yeah, again, I have no problem with you trying and failing things. That's how you get better. Some mentors that are a little more competitive will tell you, like, practice something before you put it in a race. And I just straight up disagree with that. You should definitely practice. Practice is an important component, but you do, like, at the very least, you need to be at the comfort level where you can put something in a race scenario and not really think twice about it. The mental side of that is like 10 times more important than the actual ability to pull it off. Jerk. Okay. I think I spied this when you went past it, but I'm not sure if you saw it. So we'll just confirm I'm not crazy first. Yeah. Um, that's a little further out of the way than I would ever go for a heart, but again, it's all about comfort level. Also, if you're already up there, you might as well just go into TR. You can finish it. You have a Master Sword. TR is not as tight on magic as you probably believe it is. And I mean, there's 5 items in there, so even if, well, that's still super punishing if you can't finish it. Um, but as long as you take the safety door, you can do Hammer Trinex as many times as you need to. Okay. I don't like the Zora play here, simply because you just have better things to do, like Ice Palace. Like you've never checked your Dark World map, which is less important in all dungeons seed. But like here you have a let me expand your window so you can see what I'm talking about here. So you have Skullwoods that's clearable right here. You have Ice Palace. Why is this not capturing cursor? There we go. You have Skullwoods up here that's clearable, which I think you're gonna go do. You have Ice Palace down here, which you just bought a potion, so why not? You can also figure out if Ice Palace is hook locked. You have Pod here where you can get most of the stuff just because you have a Fire Rod. Um, and then you've got these other like random checks dotted throughout the world. So going to these dense areas versus going to all these random one-offs that you left behind is gonna benefit you a lot more because like basically you need to do what the seed requires first before you can beat the game. What does the seed require? Well, the seed requires you to defeat all the dungeons. So you should definitely be knocking out a bunch of dungeons here. And there's still a blind you haven't killed, which should be a lot easier now. So I do like this Skullwoods play, but I'm not a huge fan of the Zora play before that. Okay. That's good. This spin speed is never worth it. It is technically faster, but like it's also infinitely harder to pull off than just dashing. And it's for a handful of frames. And yes, handfuls of frames add up, but if you're adding like super high amounts of manual dexterity to it, there's a point where you just get diminishing returns on it. You end up losing more time to failing the tricks uh, than you do saving on movement. Okay, good fight. Blind refight is never easy. No matter what equipment you have, you just kind of have to outwit, outplay, outlast. And if I remember right, you haven't been to Skullwoods at all yet. So yeah, this is definitely the place to be. When you were here, you didn't have a sword, so I think it was a good call to just put this off until you could clear it because there are 4 swords out there. Like and there's no guarantee that you're gonna find one in here. Ooh. Did you get your other pendant? I think your other pendant is Mire, which is even more crushing that you couldn't pull off the Vidi kill there. Yeah, I can't go that way, unfortunately. So if you had pulled off the Vidi kill, I would be even more in favor of this because it's a pendant, and then you could just mirror and do a ped check afterwards, which I think you're probably going to do with the book here anyway. But if you had the third pendant, it would just be a lot more efficient. Okay. Let me just step through that room because it's actually one of my favorite rooms to practice. Okay. So you gotta do this thing. Like, this is a pretty good beginner strat. Basically, just 2 fire rod shots, fire rod that guy, fire rod that guy. And then just from an efficiency standpoint, usually you're not on this bad hand cycle here. And you can just get both of these torches in one go. But even if you're on the bad hand cycle, you've got 3 Gibdos out of the way. So, easy enough. But there's a much easier way to do this. Like that. So look at my timer in the top right that says 8:27, and then this is the optimal way to do the room. But it's a little tight on timing, and you can see 8:12. I only saved like 15 frames. So this strat is a much easier, safer, and slower strat. And it's not really much slower, but it's like infinitely easier to pull off. And I'm showing you all of those options because what I want most of all is for you to have a plan for every time you go into a room. If you ever go into a room and you're like, oh no, I don't know how this works, what do I do? Then I suggest sitting down and either asking someone to get you to get them to show you that room, or going to something like StratHub to see how NMG runners do it, or just watching other people to see how they deal with it. Because I'm noticing that you don't necessarily always have a plan for every room. Now you do for some, and some of this is going to come with experience. Yeah, like that room. Probably going to have to blow your potion here, because I don't know what your prize packs are. Okay. So you're doing survival tactics in there, which is actually really, really good. It means you didn't panic, and you at least had an idea of what you wanted to do. And also you didn't need that key. You didn't need that key the first time you were in here, so you already have a key. So you can just skip that key. Unless the mummy isn't going to give you any trouble, in which case might as well just get it, because you have to clear the front anyway. Yeah, so even though you were technically flailing in the mummy hellway, the fact that you didn't like just freeze and panic and whatever, that's actually a good thing. Because once you get a plan for every room, then you won't have to resort to those survival tactics. But for now, it's good to know that you're fairly secure on this loadout, which is 11 Hearts Blue Mail Master Sword. Okay, I'm a big fan of this this sequencing, but you can definitely get owned by it. I don't see very many top level people doing a sequence like this, so it's probably bad for one reason or another. That said, I fall down that hole a lot, so never see me complaining about it. Okay, so same as before. don't I don't think you need to go back for these checks that you left behind just yet. You can just go to Ice Palace. Okay, silvers may or may not be worth it. So if you have a good silverless Ganon fight, silvers only save like 20-ish seconds, and you just spend a lot more than that going and getting them. However, if you're not comfortable with silverless Ganon in any way, shape, or form, then yeah, that's just straight up worth it. See, this is even more reason to do Ice Palace because you got crabbed here earlier on. I'm personally not interested in this until after the dungeon. And the reason is, so right now you're what, hookshot go? You probably want a lamp, but basically you're hookshot go right now. Um, so right now you just kind of have to bank on the hookshot either being in ice or in pod. Coming all the way up here to do this one-off check is slow, and sometimes you have to do it this way, which is fine, but you don't have to do it this way because you can go to Ice Palace, you can clear Ice Palace, and then you can just flute to 4, and then when you do your like either right before or right after you do your pyramid check, there's actually a spot that you can mirror in the Dark World, and you end up right there. And then that's when you would check this. Okay, there's your hookshot. You're in go mode. Yeah, because this swim is just so slow. So while we're watching you in go mode, let me just show you where you can mirror to. So actually, so from ice, as I was talking about, you could just flute to 4. Take this portal. You might even want to take the 5 portal there and just go straight into pod, but just so right here is actually where you can just mirror, and then you can go to the hobo this way. Okay, and then that's where you would get your item. And then, since you're going to pod anyway, at this point you just mirror back. And in this seed, you wouldn't have needed to proceed to the pyramid. And honestly, I wouldn't have, because you haven't done catfish yet, so you need to make running out of pod more worth it. I would just go straight to pod at that point. Okay. I also saw that you did Ice Palace Bomb Jump. So actually using Icebreaker is like a minute or so faster. So definitely something to put on the learn list. Dying to cold stare is just a rite of passage. I'm not too concerned about it. Like, it might seem like I'm pointing out a lot here, because, like, I've spent more time talking about your run than. Oh, okay, you're doing Icebreaker now. Cool. Yeah, but anyway, like I've spent more time at this point talking about your run than you have actually doing the run, and it may seem like I'm pointing out a lot, but this this stuff can be fixed with practice or and learning, right? So like, don't abandon all hope. Just, oh, are we learning on the fly? Is that why we're standing here? Love it. Okay. Obviously, the more you play, the less you'll have to do this, but if you want to learn something on the fly, go for it. Nope. Yeah, you have to be facing the other way into the door for the shadow lineup that you're trying to use to work. There is a way to line it up from facing that way, but you need to be facing left. Yeah. Nice. Very cool. That's always a good moment whenever you learn something new and pull it off for the first time, especially in the middle of a seed. Oh, go left. Go left. Okay, I'm definitely dropping this map link in here because nope, gotta go through the key door. Honestly, just to familiarize yourself with the game, um, I would do a few run throughs of the vanilla game. Like, don't put this extra puzzle on top of it. Oh, don't bomb jump that. That's bad. Just run around. There you go. Yeah. So just to familiarize yourself with the game, I would run either the regular Japanese 1.0 game, or I would run the vanilla preset a few times because that you're just not familiar with like the layout of dungeons and how dungeons work and stuff. And playing the vanilla game a little more will help you remember that stuff. You have a potion, you're fine. You also have bombos. Okay. I would have used bombos, and then once you're low on health, then use the potion. But yeah, good fight. Yeah, but like once you learn like all the dungeon layouts and how everything works and stuff, then you can put the puzzle of randomizer on top of it. Because this is stuff that you're just gonna have to do every time. And yeah, so something like this, like you always flute to 4 for swamp. Yeah, and it's just forgetting little things like this that that you're bleeding time on, basically. And this is gonna go away so fast. Like if you do any of these things in your week one race, in your week one mentored race, I will be absolutely appalled. Like these things are just so easy to fix. You just have to sit down and do it. Yeah, looking for tempered, this is probably fine. But yeah, you're definitely not touching left side or reach around or anything like that. Sorry, wrap around. Forgot I was on GMP. Okay. Put Specky Clip on your list of things to learn because it is really useful and you can always do this out of logic without a hammer. Yeah, I don't like doing wraparound room here. It just takes too long. Just go to the back. Am I missing something? Are you not in go mode? Okay. It's possible that you also just don't realize that you can beat the game right now. Um Again, that's another thing that comes with experience. If you're looking for tempered sword, I would say it's probably not worth it. You've already shown you can do Mire in the dark. And honestly, Pod in the dark, especially with a fire rod, is not any harder. But if you're doing all of this to look for a tempered sword, you have so many other things that are available to you right now that could have your tempered sword. It's just not worth doing left side swamp right now. Or ever, really. In this seat. There are situations where you'll want to do left side swamp, but this is not one of them. Yeah, definitely want to learn diver down as well. Hey, there's the lamp. Okay. I'm not going to nitpick phase one, but how much time did you spend going and getting those silvers and now you're not going to use them? It takes one silver arrow to kill Argus on phase two. All right. Just go. No think, just go. All right. We're just gonna watch like the first half of pod here to make sure, but I think you realize that you're in go mode now. And I'm running out of time a little bit, so if you go straight to the boss here, I'm just gonna fast forward to GT. Yeah, no reason. I mean, if you're looking for temper, that's probably fine. Okay, so these little moles here can be pounded down by the hammer. So what you should have done, if you want to fluff this for tempered, then that's fine. But what you need to do here is go back through this door, hammer that, and go straight to the boss. Yeah, because doing all these extra rooms just for a mirror shield, even doing all these extra rooms for tempered sword, and just believe me, it's not worth it. Okay, I see a lot of people preemptively hit that switch. It's not technically the way you're supposed to do the room, but I mean, if you're used to it that way, it's fine. Yeah, let's see what you do with Homa here. Oh, you do know the spin speed. Good. Good, 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 good. Now, that said, you have silvers, so you don't necessarily need to do the spin speed here, but it does help a little bit. Okay. You know what? We'll call that practice. We'll call that practice for hammer hits, and that was actually a very good fight. Um, if you're in a race, definitely just use the silver arrow. But I approve. I approve of most NMG strats, but all right. Let's go give Viddy some clear eyes. Don't need to. Just want to see the boss fight here. Okay, we finally use our silvers. Yay. Cool. All right. Yep. Always good to buy potions. Yeah, probably just. Yeah, sometimes that guy talks to you and he's annoying every single time. It does seem like you know you're in go mode here, but I just want to watch the front part of this to see if you realize how many keys and if you realize you need the big key or not. Yeah, just mirror out of there. It's not worth trying to dodge the rollers. Plus, you need to go to the compass chest anyway. Okay. Never, ever, 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 ever skip the compass chest. So, the way that Turtle Rock key layout is, there will always be at least between compass, roller, and chain chomps. So between those four chests, so compass, roller, and then chain chomps, there will always be two small keys at least. Because you need those two small keys to not only get to the back, but also to get through the chain chomp room. You only got one small key over here. Now, if you skip this chest and you lose the coin flip on the chain chomp chest, then you're going to need to come all the way back here. And that's the least punishing permutation of that. If you get, say, all the way to Crystal Roller Room and you run out of keys, then you have to come all the way back to here, and you won't be able to mirror. You're gonna have to run through. You're gonna have to run through the entire dungeon to get back to here. So always do roller room first, mirror, and then go do compass chest, which is right here. Do this, and then you take this path up to chain chomps. You do not want to get to Crystal Roller Room and not have enough keys. Okay, so this is definitely a room to look at for practice purposes. This is also a room that kills top level runners. These chain chomps eat top level runners for breakfast. So at some point, chomps be chomping, but there is a plan that you can have. So first what you need to do is read the RNG. Now here, both sides are open, so it doesn't really matter. I can do whatever I want on either side, and I won't get punished for it unless one of them takes a path and screws you over. But you're not going to have the same RNG every time. See, they change which way they go, and it's determined like as soon as they spawn in. It's not determined on the super tile before, so you can't like manipulate their patterns or anything like that. So you just have to read what RNG they're doing, and then whichever side is open, you go to it. All right. So here. Here. Now, I always default to looking left first, and that's only because you have to look one way first. I know some people look right first. I just arbitrarily pick left. So I always check the left guy's RNG. If left isn't open, like there, he's gonna block me, so I'm gonna go right. And then you want to get iframes off of these flaps, and then you can just phase right through him. So, step 1, look to see which lane is open. Step 2, 2 Samaria blocks. Step 3, stand on the flaps to get iframes. Step 4, get your key and leave. If both sides are blocked, let me try to get both sides to be blocked here. There, like that. Just run up here, do this, bait the guys, kind of like you were trying to do, except it just went a little wrong. Now, sometimes chomps be chomping, and there's not really much you can do about getting a pattern that you don't expect or that you're not or that you're hoping they're not going to take. But just having that plan, it's actually kind of rare that the chomps will take a turn that you don't expect. I would say I could do that room consistently about 88 to 90% of the time, and then the other times, that's when that's when I get knocked off kilter and have to do some survival strats or whatever. Yep, steal the key, get out of there. Very good. If you're not leaving the dungeon, you want to hit that crystal switch on the way out, but that's nitpicky. Oh god, pokies. That hurts my soul. Yep. Very good. Yeah, the blue boom doesn't reach. There you go. So this is another room that I would look at. You would be surprised at how many people just straight up do not know this room. So this room and this room are actually linked. These two are connected on what is called a super tile. So the amount of time that you spend in this room directly affects where this roller is going to be when you enter this. So with sword beams, it's easy. You can just beam the switch and then just beam the switch again. And that's easy enough. It's easy, it's fast, it's the fastest available strat. But you can also just place 2 Samaria blocks like you did back in Chain Chomps, and then stand on the flaps. Like this, like the movements for this room are actually very similar to the ones in Chain Chomps. So if you learn one room, I would just go ahead and learn the other one. And if you really want to make your mentors mad, you can do something like this. Oops. Sorry, muscle memory. You can do something like this, and then you can Samaria dash a block. Only if you want to make the people watching you mad. Oop, yep. Yeah, definitely familiarize yourself with this, because okay. Hammer Trinix, let's go. Oh. Okay. I don't know if you're like more comfortable with backdoor strats and just messed it up, or if you oh, did we take the safety door? Uh-oh. Oh, we didn't take the safety door. No, dude. Okay. Let's just fast forward to Trinex Fight Part 2. Okay, you took the safety door the second time, which is good. Honestly, I would just take a dive here. Nice block. Alright. I'm gonna watch how you do this refight and see. Yeah, I like the aggression of skipping laser bridge because you are in go mode. But you've also kind of gone out of your way in other rooms to look for the tempered sword, and laser bridge is a pretty dense check. So I probably would have just done it. Plus, you get the safety door just in case you don't get tempered. Like there are times to skip things, and then there are like there's definitely good fluffs and bad fluffs. I would say laser bridge in most scenarios is a good fluff. There's your tempered sword. Okay. But yeah, so on your first fight, you tried to go behind Trinex, and doesn't seem like it worked out. So I would just stay in front of him. Honestly, it's not technically as safe, but it's a lot easy to just figure out. It's a lot easier to just figure out on the fly, and then I would just practice backdoor strats until you get a decent comfort level with them. And I know I said to practice stuff during races and that it doesn't matter that much. But something like that will get you killed and lose you a lot of time. Also, you got bailed out here, But you always, 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 100% of the time want to grab this small key right here. Okay, you were already on bow there, so you didn't need to switch to hook shot, because now you're just going to need to switch back to the bow. That's just a menu efficiency thing. That's the NMG runner in me. With quick swap, normally it doesn't matter, but you did 2 start menus there that you didn't need. Yeah, just preemptively fall down the hole, because you're getting the recovery room no matter what here. So just preemptively fall down the hole. Dash through your cannonballs and then get your fairies. Like there was no way you were coming up here on 3 hearts, and if you did, I would yell at you for doing so. Yeah, having beams on the climb kind of sucks, but yeah, you know, just kind of work with what you have. I usually, if I have to take the recovery room, I usually just take a dive down a hole afterwards. Okay, so this is another one of those super tiles that I was talking about. So I would argue that you didn't need that fairy, but again, it's all you. It's all your comfort level. You are only down a couple of hearts, and you do have at least 1 mail upgrade. And stopping for this fairy actually hurts you, because once you load this super tile, then that's when the landmo timer starts. So you see, they're all coming at different times here. Versus if I stay here and I powder this thing, now these 2 are coming in at once. Now what? Now you have to improvise. Now you're going to lose time. So this is just going to normalize the boss fight for you. Versus, you know, just having to wait even that little bit here, and you get them desynced like this. Now let's just check your health when you got this. Yeah, you're down 4.5 hearts. Again, I think you would have been fine, but again, it's all up to your comfort level. So you would be down 5.5 hearts here. There's a heart right here. Okay. So you would be back to your 4.5 that you were normally at. And you did that Samaria block in Mire 2 so perfectly. I just kind of assumed you knew the Wiz 2 strat also. I was looking forward to that. But it's possible that you do know it, just messed it up. Oh. So overshot just a little bit. You need that key, yep. Okay. So by the time you get here, you're on 5 hearts. So you were what, 4.5 down, so you were here. Took one in the landmo, so that's here. Get a recovery heart, and then you lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you were actually fine here. You would have been beeping, but you would have been fine. Tempered Sword does the same amount of damage as the hammer, and it gives you a much better hitbox and the ability to spin. Yeah, if you don't want to deal with this room, I wouldn't. Just go. Okay, good fight. Those were mostly spin patterns, and so that last one was a slash pattern, but you only needed one hit, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, most of the other patterns you got were spin patterns. That's just gonna come with familiarity with the boss, whether you want to spin everything or oh, you don't have to go down that far. Yep, right there. I don't think I need to watch much of this. Oh, I just realized you were probably looking for lamp for Agate Tower. Um, and Agate Tower is a pretty easy dungeon. It doesn't have torches in every room, but the most difficult rooms do have torches. So as long as you know where those torches are, then you can find them. Just remember you have a potion. Yep, good job. I'm not sure how much benefit there is to waiting for this potion because if you get yeah, so if you had gotten stun locked there, then there you could have just died. So I would have just used the potion right away, and then I can go through the little eccentricities of the Silver's Ganon fight, but it's gonna take me forever. Uh, Basically speaking, Torch Glitch doesn't matter that much. Silver's hits matter a lot more than Torch Glitch. And time. So you actually stopped your timer a little late. So as soon as this mosaic transition starts happening, that's when you click done. It's only a little bit of difference, like a 52 versus 55, so it's only 3 seconds. But if someone ends up hitting done while you're opening the race room and you're like trying to click the done button, you're like, oh no, I finished 5 seconds ago. Then you're like, you don't want that little bit of doubt to exist, right? Like, oh, if I had just hit the done button, then I would have won on race time and I wouldn't have to appeal to admins for retime. So and it's going to be rare that that situation pops up, but you just don't want it to pop up ever. So yeah, time is when the mosaic transition starts after you've crossed the bridge. All right. Um. So yeah, it seems like you know the basic controls of the game. It seems like you know what you need for certain situations. Even to the point of like going out of the way for stuff. Now, I say you're going out of the way for stuff, but that's for me specifically. Um, Only you know what your comfort level is, and how far out of the way you're willing to go to get those comforts, like lamp or tempered sword or silver arrows or stuff like that. Um, yeah, definitely study some maps, and I will accompany this video with a link to all of the maps of all of the dungeons. Specifically, you got lost in both Mire and Ice Palace. Um, so definitely at least study their layouts. I think you could benefit from playing through the vanilla game a few times, just to refamiliarize yourself with how everything works and like how you're intended to do things versus like how you can do things in rando. And just kind of let yourself know where the time saves are. Um, and yeah, I would just say like pick a few runners that you're familiar with and just watch them. I mean, you're probably doing that anyway, right? But just kind of watch them with an analytical eye and see, okay, why are they doing this check now versus, why didn't they do it before? And if you don't know, most runners won't care if after the race you just like say, hey, when you were here, why didn't you do it this way or whatever? Just don't do it during the race. That's bad. Yeah, I see a lot of positives. The other positive is that most of the things that I was pointing out in this video are very, very easily fixed. Um, and yeah, I think you could do pretty well for yourself.